The news broke on a Tuesday afternoon, a digital wildfire that consumed the entire entertainment world. It began with a single grainy paparazzi photo and a cryptic headline, "Wang Yibo caught in shocking cheating scandal." The photo, taken from a long distance, showed Yibo leaving a high-end, discreet restaurant at 2 a.m. He was not alone. By his side was a woman, her face obscured by the low light and the angle, but her striking silhouette and impossibly elegant posture were undeniable. The accompanying rumor, sourced from an anonymous but seemingly well-connected insider, was a venomous dagger. Yibo, it claimed, had spent the evening with a powerful, ruthless film producer to negotiate a deal to abandon his current path and his relationship with Xiao Zhan in exchange for a coveted Hollywood role. The dinner was his first step in a calculated betrayal. The internet erupted. The fans, so loyal and so fierce in their defense of their idol's love story with Zhan, were now fractured into a million pieces. Some lashed out in a desperate, furious denial, while others, seeing the photo and reading the salacious details, felt a profound, gut-wrenching sense of betrayal. The headlines, ever hungry for a scandal, became more and more sensational, each one a nail in the coffin of their public image. But the most devastating silence was the one that came from Xiao Zhan. He had seen the photo. He had seen the headlines. He had seen the proof. The man who had stood on a stage and declared his love for him in front of the world had, it seemed, just betrayed him for a movie role. Yibo's phone was a constant, buzzing scream of calls and messages, but he ignored them all. He was on a flight back to Beijing, his mind a panicked maelstrom of confusion and disbelief. The text from his manager had been a single, horrifying word: scandal. He had no idea what it was about. He had been in America for a secret meeting, a clandestine operation that he had kept from everyone, including Zhan, because he wanted it to be a surprise. He had thought he was protecting them. He had made a catastrophic mistake. As he walked through the airport, the storm hit him in a visceral way. The reporters were a pack of wolves, shouting his name, their cameras flashing in a relentless, blinding rhythm. "Yibo, what about the cheating scandal? Is the rumor true?" He pushed through them, his face a mask of shock and bewilderment. He didn't know what to say. He didn't know what was happening. His only thought was to get to Zhan, to explain everything before the lies got a chance to fester. But by the time he got to their shared apartment, it was already too late. Zhan was standing by the window, his face a cold, unfamiliar mask of controlled fury. He didn't look at Yibo as he walked in. The silence was a heavy, suffocating thing. "Zhan," Yibo began, his voice a raw whisper. "It's not what it looks like. You have to believe me." Zhan finally turned, his eyes red and filled with a pain that cut Yibo to his core. "Then what is it, Yibo?" he asked, his voice low and dangerous. "Because what it looks like is that you went to America, had a secret meeting with a woman, and made a deal to throw away everything we have for a movie. And you didn't even have the decency to tell me." He held up his phone, and the screen glowed with the damning photo. "I trusted you." Yibo's heart broke. He saw the photo, and for a moment, he understood the lie. The angle, the time, the sheer audacity of the rumor, it all looked so real. "I was there," he confessed, his voice thick with emotion. "But the woman, her name is Dr. Li Na. She's a brilliant pediatric surgeon and the head of a massive, anonymous foundation. For the past 6 months, I've been secretly working with her to set up a new foundation. A fund to help children in need of organ transplants. I was a child once, who was almost out of time. I was going to tell you when it was all finalized, when the fund was official. I wanted to surprise you. The secret dinner was just us finalizing the legal documents." But his words, however sincere, sounded like a desperate, flimsy excuse. A secret foundation. Anonymous organ transplants? The story was too wild to be believed. Zhan shook his head, a single bitter tear rolling down his cheek. "And what about the Hollywood producer?" he asked, his voice shaking. "What about the betrayal?" Yibo's face fell. He knew he had no answer for that. He hadn't seen the rumor's full extent. He had no idea the woman was also a notorious Hollywood producer. I don't know," he stammered, his mind a whirlwind of confusion. The truth was, the rumor was so perfectly crafted, so intertwined with a half-truth, that it was impossible to untangle. His silence, his mistake, had been a betrayal more painful than any lie a rumor could create. The trust that had taken years to build, a trust that had survived a public coming out and a firestorm of controversy, had been destroyed in a single, devastating night. And he knew, with a sick certainty, that he was the one who had destroyed it. The silence returned, this time not heavy with anger, but with the quiet, suffocating weight of a love that was now teetering on the brink of an abyss. Yibo stood there, silent and broken. There was nothing he could say. The rumor was a lie, but his actions had made it look like the truth. The trust was gone. The next few hours were a living nightmare. Yibo's management team was in a state of mass panic, preparing a press conference to deny the cheating scandal and explain his trip. But the damage was already done. The rumor had taken root, and no amount of public relations spin could fix the chasm between him and Jean. Yibo had tried to call Jean again, but his calls went unanswered. He had no idea where he was. Meanwhile, the insider who had leaked the rumor was revealed. It was a rival in the industry, an actor who had been vying for the same Hollywood role and had gotten wind of Yibo's trip. He had fabricated the cheating part of the story, knowing it would be a perfect way to destroy Yibo's image. He had gotten his wish. Yibo's endorsements were being cancelled, his projects were being put on hold, and his fans were turning on him in droves. But the real, mind-blowing truth was about to be revealed. Yibo's team, in a desperate attempt to find any proof to corroborate his story, had gotten a tip from a security guard at the private restaurant. He had been a fan, and he had seen the news. Feeling bad for Yibo, he had given the team a copy of the security camera footage from the private dining room. The moment they saw it, the entire narrative of the scandal crumbled. The video was a long, unedited clip of the entire dinner. It was a serious, business meeting. At the table were Yibo, Dr. Lina, 2 lawyers, and a team of medical professionals. The entire dinner was a professional negotiation, filled with serious conversations and the signing of documents. It was not a romantic dinner. It was a work meeting. The supposed cheating scandal was a meticulously planned cover for a philanthropic mission. The truth was a masterpiece of misdirection. The rival had used a half-truth to fuel a vicious rumor, and Yibo's silence had done the rest of the work. With the evidence in hand, Yibo's management team pivoted. They didn't just deny the rumor, they released the unedited footage to the public, along with a full statement from Dr. Lina herself, detailing the purpose of the meeting and the goals of their new foundation. The media, caught in a lie, was forced to retract their stories. The fierce, tearful embrace was their sanctuary, the final step in a journey from public scandal to private truth. The shame of believing the worst, the pain of being betrayed by headlines, and the immense, soul-deep relief of the truth all converged in that moment. They stood together, a silent, unshakable monument to a love that had just survived its greatest trial. But while their private world had found peace, the public one was in a state of chaos. The reveal of the security camera footage and the press conference from Dr. Lina had an electrifying effect. It wasn't just a denial, it was a counterpunch that exposed a vicious lie and revealed a hidden truth more beautiful than any rumor. The internet, so quick to condemn, was now a chorus of apologies and awe. The shame was palpable in the comments from fans who had turned on them, their "I'm sorry" messages a flood of remorse. The scandal became a legend, a testament to Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan's quiet integrity. Their commitment wasn't just to each other, it was to a cause that had nothing to do with fame, money, or public approval. It was a secret act of compassion, a shared purpose that went far beyond any celebrity persona. The industry, which had been so quick to abandon Yibo, was now in a state of controlled panic. The rival actor who had orchestrated the lie was publicly disgraced. His career, built on a foundation of malice and deception, crumbled overnight. Agencies that had eagerly dropped Yibo were now scrambling to re-sign him. Endorsement deals that had been cancelled were now being offered back, often at double the price. But Yibo and Jean, with a quiet, shared understanding, were in no hurry. Their newfound power wasn't a weapon for revenge, it was a tool for change. They had been tested and had chosen a higher path, and the world was now ready to follow their lead. Now that the scandal has been put to rest and their bond is stronger than ever, what's next for them? How will they use their newfound public standing? The fierce, tearful embrace was their sanctuary, the final step in a journey from public scandal to private truth. The shame of believing the worst, the pain of being betrayed by headlines, and the immense, soul-deep relief of the truth all converged in that moment. They stood together, a silent, unshakable monument to a love that had just survived its greatest trial. But while their private world had found peace, the public one was in a state of chaos. The world, still reeling from the shocking revelation, was hungry for what came next. Yibo and Jean, with their newfound clarity and a bond stronger than ever, knew they had to be the ones to write the next chapter. The decision was made with a quiet, mutual understanding. They would not hide. They would not issue another statement from a public relations team. They would face the world together, as one, on a stage they had chosen. The venue was a major industry gala, an event that would be televised live across the nation. Their arrival was not a surprise. It was a carefully orchestrated moment of maximum impact. The red carpet was a river of glittering gowns and sleek suits, but the energy was a hushed, anticipatory hum. Everyone was waiting. The media, the fans, the industry, even their rivals, held their breath, their cameras poised. And then, the voice of the red carpet announcer, usually so full of practiced cheer, grew quiet and respectful. And here they are, Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan. They didn't arrive in separate cars, or even walk with a small, professional distance between them. They walked out of the limousine together, their hands linked, a perfect and deliberate signal to the world. Yibo was in a striking black suit that seemed to radiate a quiet, unyielding power. Jean was in a crisp white suit that was a perfect, elegant counterpoint. Their faces were not masks of forced smiles or nervous glances. They looked at each other, their eyes holding a private, profound confidence. When they turned to face the cameras, their smiles were genuine, their unity unbreakable. The cameras flashed with a furious, mind-blowing intensity. The sheer audacity of their public defiance of the scandal was a breathtaking spectacle. They walked slowly, their steps measured, giving the world a chance to truly see them. At the end of the carpet, the host approached them, his expression a mix of awe and journalistic hunger. Wang Yibo, Xiao Zhan. This is a historic moment. The world has been waiting. What do you have to say about the recent events? Jean spoke first, his voice calm and clear. The truth, as they say, has a way of finding its own light. The recent events were a difficult test, but they proved something for us. They proved that what we have is stronger than any rumor, any lie, or any attempt to tear us apart. He looked at Yibo, and their hands tightened their grip. Yibo then spoke, his voice carrying an authority that was new. We could have chosen to deny, to hide, to let the lies win. But we didn't. Because we believe that living with honesty is more important than living with convenience. We are not a story for a headline. We are two people who, together, are committed to making a difference. He then made the announcement that silenced the world. Tonight, we are proud to announce the official launch of the Project Oasis Foundation, a project dedicated to providing clean water and sustainable living for communities affected by climate change. Our work is a testament to our commitment, not just to each other, but to the world. Their public appearance was a triumph, a masterclass in turning a crisis into a new beginning. They had not only survived a scandal, they had transcended it. Their relationship, once a private affair, was now a public beacon of hope, a symbol of resilience, and a testament to the power of truth. The public appearance was a triumph, a powerful start to their new chapter. How will their newly public partnership change their careers and personal lives moving forward?